and my sense of trust in one blow. I cut contact, blocked them on everything, moved to a new apartment, threw myself into work, and tried to forget. But every time I saw a couple holding hands or heard Queen on the radio, it was like a knife twisting in my gut. Fast forward to 2023. I'd been grinding at work, pouring my heartbreak into code. A side project, a budgeting app I built to manage my own finances, caught the eye of an investor. By 2024, my startup was valued at $10 million. I'm not saying this to brag, it's just context. I went from eating instant ramen to owning a condo downtown. Money didn't fix the hole in my chest, but it gave me options. I started hearing snippets about Sarah and Jake through mutual friends. They were engaged, living in our old neighborhood, but struggling. Jake was bartending, Sarah was still freelancing, and they couldn't afford the wedding Sarah always wanted. Back when we were together, she'd show me Pinterest boards of this historic venue in Chicago, a 19th century mansion with chandeliers and a rose garden. It was her dream, but it cost $50,000 minimum. We'd laughed it off as a pipe dream back then. I don't know why, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Maybe it was nostalgia. Maybe it was guilt for moving on so well while they struggled. I'd started dating again, a woman named Mia, 27, who's kind and funny. But Sarah's dream wedding haunted me. I wasn't in love with her anymore, but I wanted her to have that one thing she'd always wanted. Closure, maybe? Or proof I wasn't the bitter ex. In January 2025, I did something insane. I contacted the mansion venue under a fake name, James Carter, and said I wanted to sponsor a wedding for a dear friend. I paid $50,000 up front. Full package, catering, flowers, a string quartet, the works. I made the venue sign an NDA, ensuring Sarah and Jake would never know it was me. I told myself it was a gift, no strings attached. I didn't want gratitude or drama. I just wanted Sarah to have her fairy tale day, even if it was with Jake. The venue worked with Sarah and Jake, telling them an anonymous donor had covered the costs as part of a charity program. They bought it. I didn't tell a soul, not even Mia. It felt like a secret I could carry to my grave, a quiet way to let go of the past. The wedding was last weekend, June 15th, 2025. I wasn't invited, obviously, but I saw photos on a mutual friend's Instagram. Sarah in a flowing white dress, Jake in a tux, the mansion glowing under fairy lights. It was exactly how she'd described it. She looked radiant, happier than I'd ever seen her. Jake was grinning like he'd won the lottery. For the first time in years, I didn't feel angry. I felt free, like I'd finally closed the book on that chapter of my life. I went out for beers with Mia that night, and life felt good. I was moving forward, building something new. I thought that was the end of it. 2 days ago, everything blew up. A mutual friend, Lisa, 29F, called me in a panic. Apparently, the venue's coordinator slipped up and mentioned James Carter to Sarah while finalizing paperwork. Lisa, who knew I'd used that alias for a charity event once, put 2 and 2 together. She confronted me, and I admitted it. I begged her to keep it quiet, but she told Sarah anyway. Sarah called me yesterday sobbing. She said she didn't deserve it, that she felt like a fraud walking down the aisle knowing I'd paid for it. She kept apologizing for hurting me years ago, saying she'd always regretted how things ended. I told her it wasn't about guilt. I just wanted her to have her dream. She hung up crying. Then Jake texted, a wall of angry messages. You think you're some big hero? You made me look like a loser who can't provide for my wife. Why would you do this? Stay out of our lives. I didn't respond. I didn't know how. Now it's a mess. Lisa's spreading the story to our old friend group. Half of them think I'm a saint for being so selfless. The other half say I'm a manipulative AH who humiliated Jake. My sister Emma, 32, is furious. She says I disrespected Sarah and Jake's relationship by meddling without their consent. Mia's supportive but thinks I should have told her first. She's hurt. I kept it a secret. I'm lost. I didn't mean to cause drama or make anyone feel bad. I thought I was doing something kind, a way to let go of my pain and give Sarah the day she deserved, even if it wasn't with me. But now Jake feels emasculated. Sarah's guilt-ridden, and my friends are picking sides. Did I cross a line? Was this selfless or selfish? AITA for secretly funding my ex's wedding? Should I apologize to Jake or just let it go? 2 hours after posting, holy crap, this blew up. Thanks for all the comments, even the ones calling me a doormat. To clarify, I'm not trying to win Sarah back. I'm happy with Mia and we're serious. I never meant for them to find out it was me. The venue screwed up. Also, some of you asked why I didn't just donate to charity instead. I, 28, need to get this off my chest. I've been silent for months, but I can't keep it in anymore. This is the story of how I found my soulmate, fell into a love so deep it consumed me, and how it all ended in a tragedy that still haunts me. Grab a coffee because this is a long one, and I promise you'll want to read until the end. 2 years ago, I met Jake, 30 million, at a local coffee shop. I was reading a book and he spilled his latte on my table, apologizing profusely. His shy smile and nervous laugh were so endearing that I couldn't be mad. We started talking, and it felt like we'd known each other forever. He was charming, kind, and had this way of making me feel like I was the only person in the room. Within weeks, we were inseparable. Jake was everything I'd dreamed of, attentive, funny, and supportive. He'd leave me sweet notes in my lunch bag, plan spontaneous stargazing dates, and listen to me ramble about my day with genuine interest. Our friends called us the perfect couple, and I believed it. We moved in together after 6 months, and life felt like a fairy tale. About a year into our relationship, I noticed small changes. Jake started staying late at work, saying he was chasing a promotion. He'd come home exhausted, barely talking, and sometimes I'd catch him staring at his phone with a strange intensity. I brushed it off. Relationships have ups and downs, right? But then I found a receipt in his jacket for a dinner at a fancy restaurant I'd never been to. When I asked him about it, he laughed it off, saying it was a client meeting. I wanted to believe him, but doubt crept in. One night, I couldn't sleep. Jake was passed out next to me, his phone buzzing on the nightstand. I know it was wrong, but I looked. There were texts from an unsaved number. Can't wait to see you again. And you make me feel alive. My heart sank. I confronted him the next morning, and he swore it was a co-worker flirting, nothing more. He deleted the texts in front of me and promised to cut contact. I forgave him, but the trust was cracked. Over the next few months, Jake became possessive. He'd ask where I was going, who I was texting, and even got upset when I hung out with friends. I thought he was just insecure after the texting incident, so I tried to reassure him. But then, he started talking about protecting our love in a way that gave me chills. He'd say things like, "No one will ever love you like I do," and "We're meant to be together, no matter what." One night, I woke up to find him standing over me, just staring. When I asked what he was doing, he said he was making sure I was safe. I laughed it off, but my gut screamed something was wrong. I started noticing other things. My phone's battery drained faster, and apps I didn't remember opening were running in the background. I found a tracking app hidden in my settings. When I confronted Jake, he broke down, crying, saying he was terrified of losing me. I should have left then, but love makes you blind. Last summer, Jake planned a weekend getaway to a cabin in the woods to reconnect. I was hesitant, but agreed, hoping it would fix things. The cabin was isolated, no cell service, just us and the forest. The first day was perfect, hiking, cooking together, laughing like old times. But that night, Jake started acting strange. He kept checking the windows, locking doors, and muttering about keeping us safe. Around midnight, I woke up to a loud crash. Jake wasn't in bed. I grabbed a flashlight and found him in the living room, holding a knife, staring at the door. He said someone was outside trying to take me away. I tried to calm him, but his eyes were wild, like he wasn't seeing me anymore. He kept saying, "I won't let them ruin us." Then I heard it, a faint knock at the door. My blood ran cold. Jake lunged toward it, knife raised, screaming, "I'll protect you!" I begged him to stop, but he flung the door open. There was no one there, just darkness. Jake stood there, trembling, then turned to me, his face twisted with rage. "You're working with them, aren't you?" he hissed. I ran. Barefoot, through the woods, branches tearing at my skin. I heard him chasing me, shouting my name. I hid behind a tree, praying he wouldn't find me. Hours passed, and the forest went silent. At dawn, I made my way back to the cabin to grab my keys. That's when I found him. Jake was lying in the clearing, the knife in his chest. His eyes were open, staring at the sky. I screamed, called 911 when I finally got service, and waited numb until the police arrived. They ruled it a suicide, saying he'd been struggling with untreated mental illness, but I found a note in his pocket, crumpled and bloodstained. "If I can't have you, no one will. I'm in therapy now, trying to piece myself together. I loved Jake, but I didn't know him. Not really. I keep wondering if I missed signs, if I could have saved him. The guilt eats at me, but so does the fear. What if he wasn't alone that night? What if someone was outside? I'm sharing this because I need to know. Has anyone else experienced a love that turned into something dark? How do you trust again? And does anyone know what to do when you feel like you're still being watched?